the El Donzo and Dees show.
I'm El Donzo.
I'm Dees, and I'd like to take this time to remind you, check out all of our socials. At Twitter, we are at El Donzo Dees, Facebook.com/El Donzo Dees, and of course, YouTube.com/El Donzo Dees, where you can find clips of this show as well as all of our other shows, and my new sports show, which I brought back from the dead, Hanging with Dees. Speaking of sports, it is football season. Finally, I can have something to take my mind off all of this stupid BS that we're dealing with on a weekly basis.
It is stupid, but you know what? Somebody's got to sit down and pour over all of this, and it gets so confusing sometimes. But
I'm glad I got you because I'm watching football.
We were talking, and we can start talking about some football too. Well, you can. So we were talking in the last segment how we believe that there's no way Joe Biden's going to run for re-election. I don't think anybody's going to allow this to happen. They're going to get him out of there, and they got to get Kamala Harris out of there too. They know that. If they think their party's bad now with Biden in it, having Kamala Harris as president, if they 25th Amendment him or something and get her in there, then they're really screwed. I mean, there's no way they can bounce back from that.
Yeah.
There's no way they can bounce back from this. This is why they're going to get rid of him. So we speculate. You're talking about Michelle Obama. I'm thinking it's going to be Gavin Newsom. I don't know. It could be anybody at this point, but they got to get him
makes
out
quite
of
a bit of sense too, but Obama would also, because they're going to want not only the black vote, but the women vote, although that wouldn't be too hard to get given the current state of affairs. But
so when you look at this, when you look at how cognitively declined he is, which we beat that dead horse a million times, we know it. All of America knows it. There's nobody you're going to bump into that goes, well, I didn't know he was in bad shape. Everybody knows it. It's out of the bag. Even people that don't follow the news know this, okay? 61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck because of this inflation, this Bidenomics, okay? So he's like I said, cognitively declined. We all know that. Our paychecks are not going near as far as they did back when Trump was president. I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, we're not coming down from this inflation. We've explained inflation. Once it gets to 9% and then drops back down to 3%, that just means it's increasing from 9% slower. That's all that means. It's still there.
Prices aren't coming down.
No,
prices
maybe
are
not going to come down.
But you're not going to see significant change.
You've got this deal in Maui. Everything he does, he just completely implodes on himself. And I think Hawaii, I don't see how Hawaii is going to end up voting for him. The Democrats know this. And then we go back to what happened in Kabul, Afghanistan with the Afghanistan pullout. Okay, we're going to pull this up real quick. Now we're going to play the whole clip for you. It's a little long-winded, but you have to hear this. So, of course, 13 service members, were killed in the suicide bombing at the Kabul airport. And the House Foreign Affairs Committee had a roundtable to give these Goldstar families their chance and their voice. I'm going to play this for you, and we're going to bleep out the expletives that are in here. But this guy is Mark Schmidt. His son was killed in Kabul. And these are his thoughts on Biden and how this went down. And I want everybody to hear this. It's about 2 minutes long, but we're going to play it anyway for you. So roll clip.
2 years has gone by, and where are we? To be frank, we're knee-deep in bull is where we are. Everyone who held a key position in the military still has that position or has been promoted. John Kirby still sits on his perch, which apparently faces the opposite direction from where all the action was. Blinken continues to delay key evidence by delaying subpoenas. Not a single general slapped down their stars, which should have happened 2 years ago when Biden ignored his reliable intelligence. Not a single person has been held accountable. Our so-called leader can't seem to even utter their names in public, not even once. Mr. Biden has run his entire political campaign for 50 years as the family man. Well, I've got news for you, sir. The curtain has been lifting, and that campaign slogan will never work again. We have seen what's going on in your family, and even worse, we've seen how you've been treating us as Goldstar families. And there couldn't be anything more disgusting and cowardly than the way you have treated us. You are a disgrace to this nation. You have no business having ultimate command over our military, and I regret not saying that to your face when I had the opportunity in Dover. I felt it more important to bite my tongue But I also had more important things on my mind at that time, like receiving my son's lifeless body stateside. While I stood there on the tarmac, watching you check your watch over and over again, all I wanted to do was shout out, "It's 2:30. But out of respect to the other grieving families, I bit my tongue once again. Well, as you could probably tell by now, I'm done biting my tongue. You, sir, stole their lives, their futures, their dreams, and have ripped apart 13 families. You cannot even man up and admit that. You, sir, gave us all the title Goldstar family. You, sir, discredit honor and integrity."
So,
Pretty powerful.
Mark Schmidt's very powerful. That's why I wanted to play the whole thing in its entirety. This is what Joe Biden has done to America. And they know that he's not going to recover from this. Yes, it's very powerful. He lost his son for no reason. You got to remember, it was 18 months we didn't lose anybody over there. All right? This is what's on the line right now. It's not just our pocketbooks. It's not just our jobs. It's not just our freedom. It's our lives. Impunity. They're doing this with impunity. Biden's gotten out of hand, and I guarantee you they will get somebody else to come in here and take his place. Because right now, a cat could beat him in an election. People are tired. After all this stuff, the American citizens are finally tired. 61% living paycheck to paycheck. His support's down. But you know what? On the other hand, if he ran and got reelected, I couldn't say I was really surprised. And I don't mean reelected by the people either. So when you see how much these people are getting away with, all right? Now, how about this one? I want to go into this real quick. Yeah, we got time for this. Okay, Enrique Tarrio, who was a Proud Boys leader, got charged with sedition on January 6th. Now, what did he actually do? What crime did he actually commit? That he was there and he was protesting. They've delayed his sentencing. The prosecutors want to give him 33 years. 33 years in jail. Meanwhile, Joe Biden and his son have been bilking the federal government in these other countries. All right, just this one. Gateway Pundit. Hunter Biden flew with Joe Biden on numerous Air Force Two flights to 13 different countries, and several times they hid this from the public. They hid it. If you got to hide something, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Now, here's something else a lot of people don't realize. They don't have to actually prove, okay, under the 14th Amendment, they don't have to prove that Trump did anything actually wrong. Section 3, and this is a big thing. Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which states that an elected official is not eligible to assume public office if that person engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States. Now, here's a kicker. Or had given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. So if they can get a charge to stick on John Eastman or Jenna Ellis or Rudy Giuliani or any of these people he was involved with, they think they got him on that with the 14th Amendment. That will keep him from running from office if they can't get him in jail. And if they can't get him in jail, and if they can't keep him from running for office, they'll kill him. They'll shoot him. He'll have his own Prigozhin plane crash. What are your thoughts, Deez?
He's probably going to drown while he's paddleboarding or something.
Yeah, really? What was that weirdness going on here? So anyway, that's why we think there's no way that Joe Biden's going to run again. So, something else I wanted to get into. We had this shooting down in Florida, right? 3 people were killed Saturday in a racially motivated attack after a gunman targeted black people at a Dollar General store in Jacksonville, Florida, in one of several weekend shootings that again shocked Americans in public places. So, Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters said, quote, "The shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people." Maybe he did. He probably did. They found his manifesto. And within days, that manifesto was out. And it was disturbing. The guy was racist. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, I got a question. Audrey Hale, the woman, I don't care, says she was transgender, is a woman, shot up Presbyterian Covenant School in Nashville, Tennessee, back in March 27th. Now, 7 dead, 3 9-year-olds, 3 adults that were in their 60s, and her. And we still don't have that manifesto yet. We still don't have her writings. Now, some people said it was dangerous. They couldn't release it at first. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now they're saying, well, there's really nothing in there of value. It was just why have they not released it? This is back in March. In March. You're going on 6 months. We still don't have that manifesto. But if somebody is racist, we get to see that manifesto immediately and play that racism card. We get to get these people juiced up about racism. But we don't know what the transgender's motive was. Almost like we don't know what Stephen Paddock's motive was. They're not releasing it. Now come to find out that the family of Audrey Hale is now sharing this with the family of the slain school children, the families, and they're working to keep it out of public view. Why? Why do we have these questions at this point about this?
Very, very strange. Like, help people understand, what could motivate somebody to do something like this.
God forbid we have somebody that's transgender motivated to kill straight people. God forbid that gets out, right, Dees? And we're going to kind of go off the beaten path here, what we've been doing, okay, in the first part of the show. Alice Cooper, you a big Alice Cooper fan?
No.
What?
I mean, his music's okay, but I wouldn't ever call myself an Alice Cooper fan.
Well, nobody's perfect. I'm a big Alice Cooper fan. Alice Cooper, of course, he seems weird, but he's a pretty straight and narrow guy. He's been sober, I think, since 1986, 87, somewhere in there. He's pretty straight-laced. Now, he does a lot of weird stuff on stage. If nobody's ever seen him in concert, he puts his head in a guillotine and has it lopped off. He was the original shock rocker.
Yeah.
He pioneered it.
Yeah. I don't dislike him. I just
never was a big fan.
Yeah, I've never seen him live. I've never bought any of his music. But like when it
Gotcha.
comes on the radio, I'm not turning it off.
I've seen him live a couple of times, and I think he's in his 70s, and he's still got it. He's still got good vocals. He's still got good stage presence. But what he doesn't have anymore is his partnership with Vampire Cosmetics. Okay, and Vampire Cosmetics was supplying the makeup. If you've ever seen Alice Cooper, he paints his face white, and he's got the black eyeliner and coming out of his mouth, and so he had a partnership.
He didn't really paint his face white. He just had the black eyeliner.
Yeah, but he
might have powdered.
Yeah,
a little
powdered
bit,
it, whatever, But it was an LGBTQ owned cosmetics brand, and then they dropped him because back on August 23rd, he criticized gender affirming procedures for minors. Now, which seems to me pretty legitimate. We do it all the time. I mean, it's just how normal people think. He quote, "I'm understanding that there are cases of transgender, but I'm afraid that it's also a fad, and I'm afraid there's a lot of people claiming to be this just because they want to be that." He said in the blog, which I agree with him. You agree with him. He's just speaking logic here. He went on, "I found it wrong when you've got a 6-year-old kid who has no idea. He just wants to play, and you're confusing him, telling him, yeah, you're a boy, but you could be a girl if you want to be." So, of course, truth alert, truth alert, truth alert. Well, now he can't be with this LGBTQ blah, 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 plus XYZ cosmetics company because he told the truth. Now, we're seeing a lot of celebrities come out and do this. Difference is, right now with Alice Cooper, he hasn't backtracked. Okay? Dee Snider also came out, and I think his quote was, when we were notified about the tweet in which this was SF Pride, tweet in which Dee expressed support for Kiss's Paul Stanley's transphobic statement, we were both heartbroken and angry. The message perpetuated by the tweet cast doubts on young trans people's ability to self-identify their gender. So if you remember, Paul Stanley came out about this. We covered this, did we not?
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't that bad. He was just saying he doesn't buy off on it, and he doesn't think it's right for kids to do it. So I believe Dee Snider retweeted that and supported it. Mm-hmm. So now they're calling Dee Snider a transphobe.
Yeah. Paul Stanley kind of walked it back a little. He didn't completely retract or anything. He just clarified, I guess, what you would say. But yeah, and Dee Snider didn't.
The biggest mistake you can make, and I think as a celebrity, is apologizing or walking something back. You're not going to win at that point. You still said it. They'll still grill you on it. You're not making any headway.
No.
Don't walk this stuff back.
No, you recant or walk it back. Now all you've done is piss off two sides.
Oh, absolutely. But you made yourself look like a flip-flopper. And that kind of bothered me with Paul Stanley. We know we know Kiss is always out for the money, right? They don't want to do anything that's going to lose them one red cent. Now, Carlos Santana, okay? This is from MS, so it's chopped up. But he said in a clip, when God made you and me before we came out of the womb, you know who you are and what you are, okay? He said later on, when you grow out of it, you see things and you start believing that you could be something that sounds good, but you know it ain't right. Because a woman is a woman and a man is a man. That's it. Whatever you want to do in the closet, that's your business. I'm okay with that. Of course, under pressure, one of the best guitarists in the world just couldn't help himself. He later came around and said, I realized that what I said hurt people, and that was not my intent. I sincerely apologize to the transgender community and everyone I offended. Do you know what that apology did for him? Nothing. It probably made it worse on him at that point. So
I can't imagine he had too many fans in the transgender community anyway.
There's not that many true transgenders. And that's the thing. If somebody really is transgender, that's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. That's a big issue, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying these guys were right, and the only one that hasn't walked it back is actually Dee Snider, which Dee Snider's always been a straight shooter, and Alice Cooper. And they get more respect from us for doing that and standing their ground. But who knows? Next week they could both do it. They could both cave. We've seen Joe Rogan caved. He bent the knee about 2 years ago. I can't remember what statement he read or said. Excuse me. Now, Keith Olbermann, talking about this transgender deal, which Keith Olbermann's an idiot anyway. Let's see if we can find this tweet. It was a tweet. Am I correct?
It was a reply to a tweet to Riley Gaines.
I got it pulled up here now. Riley Gaines' tweet said, excuse me, let me see if I can find it here. You got that tweet pulled up?
I do not.
Okay. So, the tweet was, Riley Gaines was a very successful swimmer, ending her college Wildcat career as one of the most decorated swimmers in the program's history. She played an instrumental role in the Wildcats clinching their first ever conference championship title in 2021. Now, where was she ranked? Do you have her ranking, her actual ranking?
No, but she was she was a 2-time second team all conference. She was good. She wasn't like a superstar or anything.
So, okay, but she was good though.
Yeah.
She was good. We can all agree on that.
Yes, she was highly competitive, but she wasn't winning any world or NCAA championships or whatever.
Yeah, and then Leah Thomas comes in and knocks all these gals out of the water.
Yeah.
All right, so Keith Olbermann replied to that statement. And that really wasn't Riley Gaines, but it was a tweet about her. Anyway, Keith Olbermann opens his mouth. Can you just address the reality and move past it? You sucked at swimming. That's why you lost. But if you'll remember, Leah Thomas sucked at swimming. Put on a girl's swimsuit and went in there and beat all these gals. She was Leah Thomas was 400? So the fact that Keith Olbermann is sticking up for the fact...
As a male, yes.
As a male. And then goes in there and mops the floor with all these chicks' butts. Goes in their dressing room, exposes himself to them. And all Keith Olbermann can say is just admit you sucked at swimming. And
keep it classy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, keep it classy. Sucked at swimming. You know, Keith Olbermann just sucks all around, if you ask me.
I've never really been a fan.
Did you ever watch him?
Well, I mean, I watched him a lot on ESPN when he was on there all the time, but ever since he got into the political side of things, no.
Yeah, you know what? These people make big mistakes when they try to do that. Speaking of that, where's Chris Wallace at? I haven't seen him in a while. We were talking about that on last week's show. Chris Wallace is just completely, once his True Politics came out and he went over to CNN and it was a complete dud, but we don't hear too much from him anymore. Ultra Right Beer's back in the news. If you remember, I think we were the first people in McLean County to try that.
Probably.
And we did it live on the show. It was a $30 for a 6-pack. Hopefully it comes down because it wasn't a bad beer, I didn't think.
No, it was tolerable.
This is the headline from Gateway Pundit. Ultra Right Beer born out of Dylan Mulvaney fiasco, now sending beer out by the tractor trailer load. So I think that price is going to come down a little bit. New beer brand sprang into existence alongside the far-reaching boycott of Bud Light has already surpassed $1 million in sales and can now be found in stores in 2 states.
Of course it hit $1 million. It's $30 a 6-pack. Actually, retails $19.99 when it first came out.
Yeah, but then it was $10 for shipping.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a pretty good beer. I thought it was worth buying it.
Yeah, no, like I said, as a non-beer drinker, it wasn't terrible.
So, where
are they at? In Georgia and Arkansas, they have shelf space now, and they're hoping to expand.
So something I want to talk about real quick. We're coming into the tail end of the show, which we usually kind of get out in the weeds about some other stuff, some fun stuff. There are new pictures of the Loch Ness Monster. Have you seen this?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
The pictures were taken, I think she said, in June or July, but she was afraid to release them because of scrutiny.
Taken in 2018, and she held on to them for this.
Oh, that long ago?
Yeah, her quote was, this is her, let's go into this. Let's find this chick's name. Chi Kelly, 51, was a photographer. And her quote was, I was just taking pictures with my Canon camera of Scott, which is her husband, and their daughter, Lisa, who was then 5, when about 200 meters from the shore, moving right to left at a steady speed, was this creature. It was spinning and rolling at times. We never saw a head or neck. After a couple minutes, it just disappeared, and we never saw it again. It almost looks like a snake, doesn't it?
Well, in the pictures, no. I think it's garbage bags or something floating around in there.
You think it is?
Yeah. Look, as much as I'd like to believe something like this, with today's technology, you'd be pretty hard-pressed convincing me that we've never been able to actually see the actual creature with all the, sonar and stuff that they've done.
Now, wait a minute, Deez. Now, wait a minute. We've never been able to actually find what these people are seeing either. Have we? Nobody ever went out there with a boat and said, oh, it's a garbage bag or it's a floating log.
Right.
And that's just, it's interesting to me. There's so much stuff on our planet that has not been explored yet.
True.
Is my point. And this is people talk about space. I was reading William Shatner when he went up in Jeff Bezos's craft, and he got into space, and he thought he was going to love it. And it made him realize that there's so much on this planet, and there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there worth exploring. We haven't explored anything on our planet yet, really, when you think about it. We have all these vast oceans. We have Loch Ness. And yeah, there's probably nothing. There's probably no Loch Ness monster. I agree with you. It's like Bigfoot, right? Yeah. If there was a Bigfoot, we'd have found him by now. I mean, he doesn't have a vast body of water to play hide and go seek in, okay? So, but still, I think there's a lot of stuff left on our planet if we don't destroy it with thermonuclear war that we can still explore. Yeah. So anyway, this is the El Donzo and D Show. We'll be right back here. We're going to take a break.